Matthew Stafford.
Greeny, pitcher, it's Saturday. Matthew Stafford comes out to practice, looks good, sidearm throws, deep throws, mid-range throws, looks wonderful, no reservations. Then Monday, he complained of back stiffness, and then they said, okay, don't practice. Right now, the Rams are not concerned. McVay has said the goal is to just get him ready for week 1. Practice reps aren't as important, but man, a back injury, I'm not loving it.
37-year-old quarterback Marcus Spears, you had a 3-word reaction to this. What is it?
Scary as hell, okay? I don't care what anybody says. Miss me with all of the preseason. It don't matter. Yes, Matthew Stafford knows football. He knows the playbook. He knows Sean McVay. What happens 7 days after the first week of the season, after he potentially gets hit once or twice in a real football game? That's my issue. That's my focus. I'm scared as hell for Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
I think that's a team thinking Super Bowl thoughts there. The quarterback is 37 with a back problem. I can understand the reservations. Meanwhile, Kmart, how about the latest on Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson?
Okay, this is an injury that also had me scared as hell. You see him getting carted off in practice, but the Eagles got better than anticipated news. He'll undergo a minor procedure on his meniscus. That's good, right? Considering what we thought.
Yeah.
But the hope is that he is ready for week 1. Still, we're only a couple weeks out from week 1, guys.
Yeah.
So this bears monitoring as well.
Their first game is 3 weeks from Thursday night against the Cowboys. And to your point, I think this was the best news they could have hoped for, considering where everything went. And then we'll stay in the division. We'll go to those Cowboys. Earlier this morning, they were on this blue carpet last night, the Cowboys were, for the premiere of a docu-series. And Jerry Jones was asked a lot of questions, and we talked a lot about Micah Parsons. But then he was asked about the Cowboys' impact on pop culture and his role in that, and his response was fascinating.
I do believe if we're not being looked at, then I'll do my part to get us looked at. The Cowboys are a soap opera 365
The
days.
screening will begin
When it gets slow,
momentarily.
I'll stir it up.
Please take your
And
seats.
so it's wonderful to have the great athletes, have the great players. But there's something more there. There's sizzle, there's emotion. And if you will, there's controversy. That controversy is good stuff in terms of keeping and having people's attention.
No.
Isn't that fascinating?
No, Jerry,
I mean, we
no.
have sat here and somewhat jokingly referred over the years to, well, Jerry's just trying to program the A block of Get Up and all that kind of stuff.
He is.
There he is telling you
He
he actually
literally
is doing that, right, Kmart?
That is, put down the spoon, stop stirring stuff up, please. It's almost like the sizzle that he wants. The sizzle will come week 1 when you have Micah, when you have a full complement of players. This is the problem. We joke about the Cowboys always being focused on things other than winning, but their owner is literally saying to the public, yeah, man, I just want to have some sizzle.
Well,
That's what we're about.
Jerry is of an age, and Marcus, again, you played there, and your heart is still there in so many ways. Jerry is of an age that he will remember the expression, all publicity is good publicity. And, you know, in the world in which we live today, I'm not sure if that's true anymore or not. But he certainly not only believes it, but he's willing to tell it to you. I thought that was a fascinating, bordering on stunning thing for him to say last night. Marcus, what was your reaction?
Oh my goodness, man! So this is 2-part, G, and it's 4 smart people. We understand what you need to bring to an organization and a franchise. We understand that Jerry is one of the greatest marketers in sports history when it comes to getting the Cowboys out there, the star, everybody. I played there. I understand what it means to him for this team to be at the center of attention and at the heart of what the NFL is. And he's absolutely accomplished that. My one issue is this with what he said. Why controversy? Because the controversy lends itself to what's going on with Micah Parsons. It lends itself to what was going on with CeeDee Lamb. It lends itself to what's going on with Dak Prescott. See, there's a section of people that follow the Cowboys that actually want to see them win a Super Bowl. There's a section of this fan base that is not going to be happy regardless of how much attention the Cowboys get, as they'll trade that for hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. And I've been saying it for years, G, and you know it because I've said on your show, I've said on Countdown, and I've said it time and time again. And this is where that sentiment comes from when he says create controversy. That is why I say Jerry is not trying to win a Super Bowl. Because, and look, that is not all encompassing. There are versions of Jerry Jones that wants to win a Super Bowl, but he wants to do it in a climate that's not conducive to winning a Super Bowl. And I continue to say this, and I tell people this all the time when I have these conversations, and it's because of what he just said right there. I want to create controversy when we're not talking about the Cowboys enough. Well, that controversy is directly tied to the players that play for the team. Because I don't know any other controversy that's being stirred up over the last 3 years other than that contract, CD contract. Well, let's go back to Zeke Elliott contract. And now we hear at Michael Parsons contract. Great fodder. Everybody gets all excited about it. We're going to talk about it on every show. The problem is it affects football on the field, which I would love to see the Cowboys go into a season with an opportunity to win a Super Bowl because the business part was handled right.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I think to Swagu's point and Kmart's point, Greeny, is if the owner is more worried about controversy than wins, what do you think the players are going to be more concerned with? Right? Now they're worried about creating controversy of their own. Somebody's going to talk about somebody, get that thing stirred up. They're going to be worried more about their money than about win. All the different things that translates, because when the actual owner of the team tells you it's more about publicity than about wins, you got the cart before the horse, man. Everybody talks about limiting distractions. You have an owner talking about creating distractions that take away from wins. You want to know why you can't get over the hump? That's a great reason why. And it's really tough to get that culture out of your building. I feel sorry for the staff who has to battle it each and every day.
It's a fascinating thing for a person to say. We have to leave it here for the moment, but we will come back and talk more about this a little later. And you think about the way the Patriots operated when they were winning. It almost felt like Bill Belichick would have been much happier if no one was even watching them play.
For sure.
Right? Like Bill would have loved to have just played and no one
counseling.
paid any attention to it. That's, that wins you all those Super Bowls. This is something else entirely. We'll come back to it, I promise. But college football is right around the corner, people, and I know that because the preseason top 25 was released by the Associated Press yesterday. And in the second closest margin ever for the number one position, it is Texas on top. For the first time in school history, is 5 votes ahead of Penn State, whose Heather and Paul join us as they always do. Sir Paul Feinbaum, what was your biggest takeaway from the reveal of the preseason rankings yesterday?
Don't be too shocked by this, Greeny, but Ohio State is too high, and Heather, calm down. Alabama is too low. I really think Alabama is a serious national championship contender, and I don't get Ohio State at all, Greeny. I know they won the national championship last year. That has nothing to do with it. They don't have the same team, and that national championship hangover is going to get to them. So we'll take care of it. We'll see that in about 2.5 weeks when Texas gets up there and walks out of that stadium a winner.
That will be It's obviously an incredible opening weekend game. Heather, what do you think? He says Ohio State too high, Bama too low. What do you think?
He's right that Ohio State has a lot of questions and they're too high. Alabama too low, the same Alabama that lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and has a new starting quarterback. See, I would argue they're a little bit too high. This is going to be settled on the field, but Paul, what about LSU and Brian Kelly and Garrett Nussmeier? This is the best team he's ever had. There's no reason for LSU not to contend for the SEC in the national title.
All right, so Heather, with that said, what was your number one takeaway from the first top 25?
Number one takeaway was number one. Sorry, Paul, but it should be Penn State, not Texas, which is going to lose at Ohio State in the season opener. Penn State has the best team James Franklin has had. Personnel-wise, he will tell you that. That means his coaching staff and his players. 2 of the top coordinators in the country, and Andy Kotelnicki on offense, Jim Knowles on defense. That was probably the best coordinator hire in the country in college football. Plus Drew Aller, their running backs, their defense, NFL talent all over the field.
Okay, I want to show everybody, if you believe in history repeating itself, I want to show a trend. This is the 3rd straight season that the highest ranked team in the Big Ten is the number 2 overall team in the preseason AP poll. Let me show you here, because that might actually be good news for Penn State. Look what happened. Michigan was number 2 in the preseason AP poll a couple of years ago, and they won the national title. Ohio State was number 2 in the preseason AP poll last year. They won the national title. So does history repeat itself, Paul? How would you feel if the Big Ten won for the 3 straight national championships, which it has not done since 1940, 41, and 42?
Well, I'm trying to get my foot out of my mouth, Greeny, because I've had a few comments about that. I don't think it's going to happen, but I understand your trend, and I would agree with Heather. I know Swagu said a minute ago he's going to counseling. Heather and I are currently in counseling after this preseason squabble that we continue to have. Penn State is excellent. You can't look at Penn State and not agree, but there's just still something about Penn State, and I'm not going to harp on James Franklin anymore. I think he's a very good coach. I just don't think he's a national championship coach, and I don't think he has. I don't think he has the it factor that the last 2 guys have been able to do. And I'm talking about Harbaugh and Ryan Day.
Again, it was 1940 through 1942, the last time the Big Ten won 3 straight national titles. Heather, should fans of Paul's beloved SEC be concerned that history could repeat itself this year?
Yes, they should be concerned. And that's simply because there are teams in the Big Ten and the ACC that are good enough to win the national title here. It is harder to stockpile NFL talent no matter what name is on the back of your jersey or the front of your jersey, okay? It's more difficult. You've got Penn State, you've got Clemson. Ohio State could win the whole thing. We're not even talking about Oregon. I mean, Miami is a top 10 team. They've got Carson Beck. If their defense is better, they can contend for it. There's just more teams capable of doing it.
Yeah, it's a brand new era in college football. We will leave it there. Paul and Heather, obviously much more from you as we work our way towards what should be an unbelievable opening weekend. Meanwhile, our next ESPN WNBA game is tonight, 7:30 Eastern. We've got Paige Beckers and the Wings taking on the